at the United States military. Stealth bombers, nuclear submarines, single aircraft carriers packing more firepower than some small nations. Literally the most powerful fighting force in human history. With a runaway military budget so stacked, it's bigger than the next 11 countries in the list combined. And most importantly, the United States military has a history of pushing boundaries of military tech and innovation, which has not been without a few hiccups along the way. Hiccups history books tend to quietly sweep under the rug. Today's story is about such a hiccup. A brief, beautiful, totally cursed chapter about an experiment in the mid-1800s when the army tried to integrate camels to the Wild West. The timeline, however, was not ready for cowboys and camels. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the forgotten story of the United States Camel Corps. It's the 1850s, and the good old US of A is expanding westward at a crazy pace that suggests that they figured out that land was the solution to all of life's problems. The American Southwest, Texas, Mexico, Arizona, is a brutal, sun-baked hellscape of sand, rocks, scorpions, and absolutely zero sympathy for human beings who showed up uninvited. The US Army is trying to patrol this region, and their horses, well, quite frankly, are having a terrible time. Horses need water constantly. Horses are delicate. Horses in the Saharan Desert are basically expensive furniture that occasionally dies dramatically. Enter the Secretary of War, Jefferson Davis. Yes, that Jefferson Davis, the man who would later lead the Confederacy into one of history's most catastrophic political miscalculations, apparently needed a warm-up act. And oh boy did he deliver. Davis had an epiphany, which in retrospect should have been the first warning sign. His bright idea was, wait for it, to import camels from the Middle East. Because camels handle deserts. Camels don't need constant water. And surely transplanting large irritable ungulates from the Arabian Peninsula into the American Southwest was a perfectly reasonable logistical proposition. Congress, demonstrating the kind of critical thinking we've come to expect from legislative bodies throughout history, approved $30,000 for the project in 1855. $30,000 to buy camels for the army. This wasn't a joke, this was federal policy. The man sent to actually purchase the camels was Major Henry Wayne, who sailed to the Mediterranean with a naval officer named David Porter and returned in 1856 with 33 camels. Bactrian, dromedary, a lovely assortment of bad-tempered, foul-smelling spitting machines that wielded human beings with the kind of contempt usually reserved for people who talked in movie theaters. The second shipment brought the grand total to 77 camels, plus a handful of Egyptian and Turkish handlers who, bless their souls, probably had no idea they were walking into one of history's most spectacular experiments that went nowhere. Now, okay, so here's the good part. The camels technically were fantastic at their job. They could carry up to 600 pounds, they walked further than horses, they drank less water. By every measurable logistical metric, the camel was objectively superior for desert patrol. The experiment on paper was a success, so naturally, it was a total clusterfuck in real life. What was going on, I hear you ask? Well, let's just say they came across some technical difficulties. You see, the horses and mules were terrified of the camels. Not spooked, oh no. terrified, with a fear so intense and primal that soldiers couldn't keep these animals anywhere near each other without triggering what can only be described as an equine mental breakdown. The horses would see a camel and immediately decide that today was the day to completely lose their minds. Bucking, bolting, screaming, the whole 9 yards. Every cavalry unit that encountered the Camel Corps had to deal with the horses treating the situation like they've seen an actual monster. The soldiers weren't much better either. The American troops in the 1850s were not, shall we say, culturally prepared for camel husbandry. The soldiers grew to hate the camels because they were a nightmare to work with alongside traditional livestock. And the scent and sight of a camel can cause a stampede on a mule train, which made integrated transport nearly impossible. These animals are not horses. You cannot sweet-talk a camel. "Oh, baby, you know you're the only one. That horse means nothing to me."
Who's the slimy little cock?
You can't intimidate a camel. A camel looks at you with those long-lashed, contemptuous eyes and makes a decision about whether you're worth tolerating. And if you fail that assessment, and most of these soldiers did, the camel will bite you, kick you sideways, sit on your equipment, or spit on you with a lethal accuracy that suggests it's been practicing a lot. The camels were winning fights they weren't even officially enrolled in.
They're standing everywhere! Oh my!
And the smell. Oh dear God, the magnificent, horrible, biologically aggressive smell. Camels produce an odor that's difficult to describe without using words that could get this whole video. It was reportedly everywhere. On clothing, equipment, the general concept of morale. Oh boy. Then the Civil War happened in 1861, and Jefferson Davis became the El Presidente of the Confederacy and went galloping off to personally ruin the lives of everyone in the South. And just like that, the Camel Corps lost its one powerful advocate. The army, faced with slightly more pressing concerns, like the country splitting in half, quietly stopped caring about desert transport innovation. And because institutional pettiness is a military tradition, and nobody wanted anything to do with a program that had Jefferson Davis's fingerprints all over it. But the camels had their own Achilles heel. Well, more like a foot. You see, their soft, padded soles were evolutionary masterpieces on sand. But the rocky, jagged terrain of the Sierra Nevada chewed them apart. Horses and mules could be fitted with iron shoes. Camels could not. So suddenly, the Army's miracle desert machine had a critical hardware compatibility issue. Cause nobody had apparently thought to check that particular detail before sailing off to Egypt and start throwing around $30,000 of taxpayer money to buy 77 of them. Then came the final nail in the coffin, the Transcontinental Railroad. It arrived and made the entire argument for the Camel Corps irrelevant overnight. A steel wonder hauling thousands and thousands of pounds across the continent at speeds no camel could dream of without once spitting on a soldier. And just like that, it all boiled down to the inevitable. In 1866, the U.S. Camel Corps was officially discontinued, ending its long and glorious history of, 10 years. It was 10 years. The camels were sold off, abandoned, or turned loose into the American Southwest, where they apparently continued living their best lives with the same disdain for everyone around them that they maintained throughout. Wild camels were spotted in Texas and Arizona for decades afterwards. feral, magnificent, completely not giving a f. The last credible sighting was reportedly in the early 20th century. They outlasted the program, the Civil War, and probably several of the dudes who mismanaged them. So now we know why the US Camel Corps isn't exactly taking up space in the textbooks. Camels didn't fail the experiment. The humans failed the camels, as is tradition.